Welcome, college fans. Welcome back, college fans. I am Big Love with Miller Entertainment, my YouTube channel. I am the Sunbelt King. I am the Sunbelt Guru. I will give you nothing but picks, nothing but winners today. I went 5-0 last week in the Sunbelt. I gave you outright winners in Troy, at home underdog. I gave you outright winner and cover with Old Dominion. And this week I got two more locks. I give you all the home teams last week: A-State, Louisiana. When I give you a hint in the pick, you got to take it. I got guaranteed winners today, and I know that's all y'all want to know is who I'm betting on and who's the guaranteed picks. Let's look at the action. We got Southern Miss versus Georgia Southern first up on a Thursday. Southern Miss come in this year at 3-2. They're 2-2 against the spread. Well, they're 3-2 against the spread if you count the Jackson State win. Also, they 2-2 to the over and under. They have played two road games. They lost one and won one. And they lost that one to Louisiana Tech. They didn't cover. Because Louisiana Tech, they're a pretty good team in the group of five this year. They got a new coach going down there. They played LSU tough. So Louisiana Tech, they're trying to come to the Sunbelt. They're not in the Sunbelt yet, but they're going to be a tough team down in the group of five, Conference USA or whatever conference they in. Georgia Southern, they playing Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern coming in at they're 2-3 straight up, and they're 1-3 against the spread. So Georgia Southern only covers 25% of their games right now. They're 3-1 to the over though. Either their defense is giving up a lot of points or their offense is scoring a lot of points. Georgia Southern have won two home games versus FCS opponents. So they're winning games, but not by quality opponents. When they get a quality opponent, they don't cover. That's giving me a sign. We like Southern Miss today with Coach Huff. We like go a Southern Miss. It's going to be one of my Sunbelt locks. Southern Miss on the road, even though home teams won last week in the Sunbelt. And I do like home teams every week in the Sunbelt. I'm going to take that leap over this week. I'm going to go with Southern Miss to cover the -3. They should blow Georgia Southern. Next up, I got App State -3 versus Georgia State at +3. App State come in 3-2 straight up, 2-2 against the spread, 2-2 versus over and under. And they have covered 2 times versus Charlotte, and they lost a game versus who did I say? I know versus Power 5. They beat Power 5 Oregon State last week. Oregon State and they ain't beat nobody but Lindenwood. They didn't cover it when they played Lindenwood at home. They only scored 20 points. And on the other end, Georgia State, they coming in 1-4 straight up, 1-3 against the spread, 2-2 against the over and under. That means they only covering 25% of their games. Georgia State, they play a tough home schedule. Even though they don't cover, they covered. The only game they covered was last week versus James Madison, which is a good team. Like I said, Sunbelt teams, they cover at home. On this game, I'm leaning with App State, and they're a road team. But that's why I'm leaning this week with some road teams this week in the Sunbelt. Even though them homes teams cash in the Sunbelt. Believe me what I say. Next game up, we got Louisiana versus James Madison. Louisiana at a +17.5. Louisiana come in 2-3 straight up, 1-3 against the spread. 3-1 on the over and under. These 1-3 teams against the spread, I don't bet on. I don't want to bet on them. I'm not looking to bet on them. They covering 25% of their games. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, I ain't looking for that right now. 2 road games without a cover. They don't cover. Louisiana, they not the same Louisiana when Napier was there. They don't cover. At James Madison, they played last week. They didn't cover in Georgia State. So this week at home, like I said, Sunbelt teams at home. I'm taking a couple on the road this week, but James Madison's going to be one I take at home. James Madison. Grandkids come in here while I'm doing this show. Who else we got here? Old Dominion, my Sunbelt pick of the week. Old Dominion -14 at Marshall +14. The only thing about it, Old Dominion is on the road, guys. They're on the road. Even though Old Dominion, they going to win the Sunbelt. That's my predictions. With Old Dominion win the Sunbelt, they going to win the Sunbelt. You should go in Marshall, rebuild Marshall, and beat them by 3 scores. I mean, two touchdowns and a field goal. What's the notes I have on them? They have covered every game except one. Old Dominion have covered every game except one. And the one they didn't cover, it was only by 0.5 point. I like Old Dominion on the road. They went on the road and beat Virginia Tech. They just go on the road and beat a good Marshall team at home. Even though Sunbelt tough at home, we're going with 2 locks on the road this week. It's going to be Old Dominion and Southern Miss are my 2 locks for A-State for the Sunbelt Conference this week. Have I went over 5 games? I gave you my 2 locks. And it's the Sunbelt game of the week. It's Troy. Troy is at a +7.5. They on the road. They should go under. That's it, guys, for my Sunbelt picks of the week. I gave you 2 locks. Play Old Dominion. Play Southern Miss. Start off with Southern Miss Thursday night. Make that money. Come back with Old Dominion Saturday. And I also like them 7.5 points with Troy. See you next week. Sunbelt King.